and I am back with another Kit Conspiracy layout for you guys today, and I have reached back to 2008 of April for page maps, and this is the sketch that I am going to be using, basically based off of the fact that I have two photos. So, here are my two photos. Look, that's Janet. Oh my god. Oh, so happy. Anyways, again, this was our first time at the Walnut Grove retreat. I'm going to be pulling out some crackle paste by Ranger and putting it through this Minte stencil that's just some non-descriptive scripty words. I also would like to use up what's left over of these floral pieces, and then if I need to, I will be adding these leaves, but I think I might have enough for what I'm going to be doing with this black piece of paper. So all of that is going to be on this black piece of paper. And then what I have to go with it is this piece right here. It's the foundations piece. I think it's just called Painted, but I'm going to use not that side. I'm going to end up using the painted side, and then this piece is going to be my base piece. Yes, more pink. And then, oh, I like that border strip that says here and now. Now, this is the Brumbleberry paper. I love saying that word. And then I've also picked out two more border strips to help me. And they're just branding strips, you guys. They are really awesome branding strips that 49 and Market provides as an extra little piece of paper. And I mean, just a little scrap of something. So anyways, going to go ahead and cut off more branding strips and possibly use those later as well. And then I'm going to go through and trim up this paper. Now this black piece is only going to be an 8x10, but it's also only going to be a frame. So I'm going to cut and gut out a 6x, I think, 8 piece of paper. I don't know. Do the math. I just took 2 inches off each side. So that's 4. 4 from 10 is 6. And then I'm only going to take 10 inches off of this other side. So that's 8. So yes, a 6x8. And then magically, it's going to work out really well for me to double matte my photos. So I'm gonna frame my photos and matte my photos on this black cardstock that I just gutted. But the mixed media part is only going to be on that 2x2 portion of a frame. I'm also going to gut out this piece of paper. I don't know why. Probably because I might want to use it, or because I just really wanted to use my T-square ruler. Who knows? But I'm going to gut it out because you're not going to see a whole lot of it. And oh, I like the leftover results on the other side too. So who knows if I'm going to make that happen. Now, I do need to cut down my photos a little bit. So I'm doing, I think, 3 3/4 by 5.5, I think are what I end up with. And then I'm doing a very skinny, little teeny tiny black frame or photo mat going behind it. And then what I'm going to do is turn that silly little light off. I can't wait to move into my new room. I will never have to do that again. Yay. So anyways, and hopefully those little square lights will disappear as well. So I've got my fingers crossed, you guys, that I've got the lighting set up beautifully. Okay, so more of these palette rub-ons. I love these, by the way. I just really do enjoy them. So I wanted to see what they looked like on this black cardstock. Will they show up? Do they look good? Do they look like rub-ons? No. No, and no. Yes, they do show up beautifully, by the way, but no, they don't look like rub-ons, and no, they don't, they just are perfect, to be honest. So I'm going to try to figure out how to make all of these rub-ons work where I want them to, but I didn't want them to be, all the way across the top and all the way down the bottom and all that stuff. So I wanted the upper left corner to kind of look like it goes around the corner and then down the page a little bit, and then on the right side, just up the right side a little bit, which it ended up being a lot, but that's okay. I just wanted the effect of that. And so I'm going to stack a couple rub-ons to make it look like that palette goes all the way across. And then I measured, not really measured, but guesstimated one of the squares, so that way it went across beautifully. Now this is very translucent. It is not going to dry this white look, even though it does look really good just like that. Oh, it looks beautiful. And I was so excited with it. And I'm just like oohing and awing and could not wait for this to dry and see what it actually looks like, because, you never know. I never know. So I'm going down the entire thing with all these scripty words. I'm covering up all those rub-ons. Had no clue if the rub-ons were even going to handle it. Were they going to warp? Were they going to fall off? I had no idea, you guys. And so as you can see, now that the paper is dried, you can't really see the words, like at all. So I'm going to add rub-ons, these floral rub-ons and these butterfly rub-ons and all this stuff, in the order, yellow, orange, and red. That is in my paper for the background. That's where I'm getting my color palette, basically. And I had no idea that I could rub on a rub-on on my desk. So that happened. And it's going to happen a couple more times too. So I decided to go with it and just keep going until I'm done, and then I'll clean my desk afterwards. Yep. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this really big one and cut it in half. I have to tell you guys that it does take a little bit longer and a little bit more effort to put these rub-ons through the stencil work that I did. It is very bumpy. It is very rigid. And so I fast forwarded this quite a bit because of all the effort I had to add into getting this to work out. Now, one of the things I love about this floral rub-on is the fact that it comes with, again, more non-scripty or non-descriptive words, fragments of words, really, and they just filled in the gaps beautifully. I mean, it was just amazing how well they went with the stenciling, in all honesty. And then, of course, I have butterflies here and there too, so I'm trying to add more butterflies on top of the greenery. I don't want a whole lot of greenery, but the greenery in its own ended up looking yellowish. So it wasn't that bad, but some of it, especially when I get to the pink, it's a little darker, and so that greenery really turns out green. Just to let you guys know that. So anyways, like I said, I'm working my way from the top down because I wanted to overlap all of these beautiful rub-ons. I really wanted that overlapping look. I love 49 and Market's rub-ons because of how well they're not, what's the word? They're not see-through. Any other rub-on that I've ever played with is totally see-through. Like I can see right through it. I rub it onto something and it's like, oh, yep, that worked. And then I try to cover it up because I could see through it. And 49 and Markets are not like that. They are a little bit see-through, but not a lot see-through. And so you can do this layering effect and it just looks amazing. So anyways, just finishing up with what I have. I think I ended up with 3 or 4 leftover extras that I did not get on this little section. All this work just for that little piece of paper. I'm just saying, you guys, it was in my brain and I had to go do it. All right, so now I'm going to sand. I'm going to sand off the rub-on that is on top of my stencil work because I want my stencil work to shine through. And once I do all of this, sanding, you'll see the words. You'll get to see all of these beautiful words. And it's just like magic. It really is. It's fascinating. I absolutely love how this turned out. And then, of course, I'm going to rub or sand off the extra rub-ons that were on the side just to make it nice and smooth. And then I'm going to take a rag and actually buff out all of my words. So some of the dusting goes away and you can't really see the words, but you can see the words. It's like an optical illusion. It's just beautiful. And yes, I did all of this work for that tiny little frame, but I love how it turned out. I really did. I was able to be creative and artistic, and I didn't need it to be my entire background. I did not need it to be to where I'm going to cover it up. In fact, most of that gets to stay pretty and present. And yay, I'm very happy with it, you guys. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and use this. Wow, I'm getting a lot of uses out of this T-square ruler. I put it in a spot where I thought I was going to remember it, and then I totally forgot about it until yesterday, I think, is when I needed it for the first time ever since January when I got it. It was my Christmas present to myself. From close to my heart. And so, yeah, I'm super stoked that I'm getting to actually use it, and I remembered to use it. Like I said, I kind of tucked it away into a spot where I thought I would remember, and that's where my other ruler was. But the other ruler ended up being over on my trimmer, and so it gets used a whole lot more than the other one because the other one didn't end up on the trimmer. And yeah, it just, out of sight, out of mind. That's how it is. All right, so here are my two layouts, and all I'm going to be using from this painted paper is the white piece. I'm going to rip that paint off, and that's all I want is the white piece. So what I was doing is I was guesstimating how much I needed on both sides so I can rip both sides. I don't like trying to hand rip a 12-inch piece of paper because then it looks choppy. Whereas if I was to use my ruler and wiggle it back and forth, don't just pull it straight up, wiggle it back and forth, you get your wonky rip. It's like a controlled rip, if that's a thing. And so, yeah, I definitely wanted to be able to do that on both sides because I didn't want one side to be choppy and the other side being, controlled, and then it just looked weird. And then, of course, I'm trying to be specific. I only have this one piece of paper, so I need to know exactly how much of it at the bottom I want it to show and just all that stuff. So I'm going to pull out my ruler and measure it to try and see how much farther down the black I want it to go based off of the sketch, because it does stick out just a little bit on the sketch. And then, of course, I can't do math, so is 2.5 inches is that going to leave me a 9.5-inch piece? Yes, it is, but for some reason I'm second guessing myself. It's just weird how that works out. And then also when I gut a piece of paper, instead of trying to remember where to put my tape, I always gut it 1/2 inch on the short side. So I know that there's going to be 1/2 inch behind the piece that's going to go covering up the gutted part, right? So what I do with my tape is I put it around the piece that's going to go on top and then around the gutted section. That way I've got adhesive on both sides and it's covering the gap. And then I don't ever end up with adhesive on the back side of my layout and it being to where it sticks to my tabletop. That's just how I do a gutted piece. And then, of course, the washi tape is there only because when I put it in a layout, I don't want it to be caught on anything else because this paper is pretty thick. And if I hadn't done the other side, which I have done the other side of this page protector where these photos go, but if I hadn't, then when I stick that other page in, it would have gotten caught on the lip that the pink piece of paper, my base piece, created just because of how thick that paper is. All right, so I'm using my border strips. I absolutely love, or I should say my branding strips. I absolutely love these tiny little pieces of paper, you guys. And this is why the washi tape gets ignored. It really is, because these branding strips are up front and present. They're not see-through. I don't have to put them on another piece of white paper to get them to show up and stuff like that. And so the washi tape definitely gets ignored yet again, but but I do end up pulling out all the pink pieces, all the yellow pieces, all the orange pieces because that's what I have. As far as embellishments, I've got tons. I've got the whole rainbow to work with. But when it comes to the paper, I had the warm colors left over. And so that is the goal that I'm creating for myself, is to use up not use them all up, but to use up shift gears and work with the warm colors. So I'm just looking for things that match. Now, the windmill in the background definitely makes this look a little on the countryside. Not going to lie there. But because we aren't standing, in a field of countryness, I figured that I could use the leaves, the warm colored leaves, and some tickets and things like that. So it makes it look like Janet and I are on a road trip, basically. And this is, oh, look, a windmill. Let's stop and take a selfie. And that's it. I do have to say that my selfie skills are not all that great. That's why my daughter was making fun of me last week, was because my arms are too short. I can't get my arms out far enough to get the selfie to work. I just can't. So anyways, I still keep, trying and failing miserably at creating a selfie. But I'm not going to stop just because I can't do it. It's all good. So another thing that I did as well is I took some butterflies, some acetate butterflies, and I'm covering up the rub-on butterflies. Now you can't really tell that there's the rub-on butterflies, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing it. They were too detailed. The rub-ons were too detailed, and so when I sanded my black piece off, those butterflies really got lost. So I covered some of them up with matching acetate butterflies, and I really liked that effect. And then, of course, I'm going to use these pink words. These are not my favoriteest thicker phrases ever. The paper that is the pink on top is very fragile. I ripped this just trying to pull it off of the page protector, or the carrier sheet. I ripped it in 3 different spots. I didn't rip the foam. I just ripped the paper frontage on it. It's just weird. But you know what? There it is. It goes, and I really like it. I really like it. I am very grateful that Janet and I met at a random retreat one year, and we've been friends ever since. So I thought that this title was absolutely perfect for the two of us, because I truly am grateful for the friendship that Janet and I created and have maintained, even though it's a long-distance relationship. I thank you so much, Janet, really, truly. So don't forget to check out Janet's channel. She is Galaxy Girl Creations here on YouTube, and she is playing along with me, and I am very curious. I really want to go see all of her layouts using some more of this Spectrum Sherbet collection, because of the fact that we used this in February. So anyways, if you'd like to check out a couple more Kit Conspiracy layouts, here are 2 more videos for you guys, and I'll check y'all later. Thank you so much. Bye.